Good afternoon and welcome to Table Talk right here on 802 Scoop inside the Inside Scoop studio at 185 North Main Street in Barrie. Not a ton really to talk about today as far as like a vast amount of subjects, but let's go back to yesterday a little bit and the fact that who's running and who's not. I mean, you're running
I'm
unopposed.
running. Yes, unopposed.
You're running unopposed.
I was surprised. Really
I was
surprised.
very surprised by that as well. It was not at all what I expected to have happen. And I don't know about you. I thought you would have an opponent.
I did too. I thought for sure there would be someone running. But
So I was a little bit shocked by that, but we have quite a lineup. I'm trying to pull it up here so that I can, I got to find my message about it so I can say who's who. We know that Donald Routhier is running in Ward 3, and he will be running with his opponent as Sam Stockwell. She's going to run again. And then in Ward 1, we'll have Eddie Roos with Beth Hillgartner in Ward 1. And then you're the lone candidate in Ward 2. Yeah.
So don't stay home, folks. Still go out and vote. You know.
Yeah.
Go out and vote.
Yeah, get your butt in gear and get to the polls and do what you have to do. And absentee ballots will be coming out soon. You'll start seeing, definitely start seeing signage out there, and probably get postcards and flyers and all kinds of stuff. And who knows, you may even get a knock or two on your door. I don't know that many people do that anymore.
It's more of the signs and mailings
yeah.
now.
And only, I don't know, I think it became a nuisance for some that would happen. And so, yeah, it just, I don't think that many do that anymore.
I think the pandemic kind of put an end to the door knocking.
Which is, I mean, that's okay. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think that that's okay. I used to get a little, pissy when people knock at my door and want to talk to me, especially on a Saturday or something when I'm trying to get my housework done, get my chores done, and still got to go grocery shopping and all that good stuff. I didn't want to take the time.
Yeah.
And at night, I'm trying to get the kids fed and, schoolwork done and stuff like that. I didn't want to take the time.
And it's more, the digital era. People can get it on their phones, on internet. It's, the signs and the mailings kind of cover it, I think.
Yeah. Hillary Scott says door knocking to get on the ballot would probably be the only time. Like maybe if you were getting something on the ballot, an item, or maybe if you were running a campaign where you're a write-in and,
something like that.
Something like that, that you'd want to do that. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I've scheduled a couple of the podcasts already. So we'll have those. I'm going to send the official invite out tonight. The ones that I've scheduled already have come to me and said, hey, can we do this? And of course, we'll be doing those. So that's all open. And then just so that people know, I wanted to put it out there because people have been asking the GoFundMe or the has been linked on Facebook now. And I did post that on 802 Scoop for the family of the victims of the barn fire over the weekend.
Thanks for doing that.
So it had been released, and so I got that link posted up there. So anybody that wants to help, and I do know it may have already happened. I had reached out to some friends down at Tractor Supply and said, is there any way that you all could donate a chicken coop or at least give it at a very reduced price? And I called and spoke with them yesterday, and this morning they called back and said, we're building it now, and we'll put it on a trailer and deliver it this afternoon sometime between 3 and 4. So Tractor Supply did donate that to them.
That's great.
Super cool. It's not, I think they said it holds like 6 or 8 chickens, so it's not like it holds a ton, but it will get them started and it will get some of the chickens back home.
Yeah.
It was my understanding that some of the kids did that as their business. Some of their kids, 9 kids.
Wow.
Now there's a family. So, but they do it like a little side business, the kids do. So I wanted to make sure they had a coop back. I can't imagine how they feel, how devastating that was for kids to go through.
I know. You
Yeah.
know, it's when there's kids involved, it makes it even worse.
Yeah, and they were trying to be a part of this, little business, and so just hopefully this brings a little bit. And so a big, huge thank you to the Tractor Supply down here in Berlin. That was absolutely amazing of them to do that. And thank you to Leonard Sanborn, who facilitated the whole thing and then had to construct it and deliver it today. He's the one that called me this morning, and that's who I spoke with yesterday. But they obviously got right on it and got that dealt with. So super cool. And then I want to mention that we have a missing elderly gentleman, Ronald Van Minen. He is missing from the Shelburne, Vermont area. Let's see, it says 87-year-old, and he does have a car with Vermont license plate CNM286, and let's see, what is the make and model of this thing, though? Why doesn't this say? It's a picture. It looks like a BMW SUV is what it looks like to me. But keep your eyes open for that. It's silver in color. And last seen the night before of April 1st. The night of April 1st. So he's been missing for a while, driving northbound from Aalborg.
He's been missing a week.
He has. Wow. And so I guess they've decided to put out the alert for him. I hope they find him and get him home safely. Wow.
Seems to have been a few of those lately.
There have been, but wrong way drivers and elderly people with dementia and medical problems, and that's the concern, is that maybe he suffered a medical event somewhere and is off the road. Yeah. Barb Drew says on a different note, because she's chimed in and says she still likes people coming to her house that are running for something, so that if she has questions, she can ask them directly. Because not a lot of people, some people don't use email and text and all of that stuff, so they prefer that one-on-one. Yeah. How do you feel about town meeting days? Like the old-fashioned?
The old-fashioned? Never went to an old-fashioned town
You never
meeting
did?
day. No, I've always lived here, so it's always been Australian ballot.
Yes.
So.
No.
Closest thing to a town meeting in this area is when, like, we had the caucus.
Yeah.
That's the closest thing to a town meeting.
Yeah, and they did a couple of forums. They did not too long ago, they had the Community Safety Forum. But yeah, it's a big deal, I think, to have the town meetings.
Small towns, it is. It
is.
They make a big event. They have, they serve lunch, and people hang around most of the day.
And people can go and ask their questions and get their answers before they go in to vote. Here, the last, I think, if I do it, so I'll do it this election. I'll do it in May. This will be the third election, or the third this kind of election, because I've done it for school board and stuff a couple of times too. But I'll be up there and with hot dogs, free hot dogs. So we bring up a grill and hot dogs and all the fixings, and usually some other treats for people that don't want hot dogs, donuts or apples or something like that. We did do donuts. A friend of mine did a ton of donuts during last year's elections. And people raved about those. They were homemade. She made, I don't even remember, so many. It was crazy amounts. And people keep asking if we're going to have her donuts again. So I may have to talk her into making them, coming home from Florida just a little, or Tennessee, coming home just a little early to make those donuts.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. Did you stop?
No,
by
I
chance?
didn't. No,
You didn't
because
stop?
I think I did absentee ballot. So
Oh, yep. So you've never
But-
been up to see the little hot dog
No, I didn't.
station that I set up and
No.
everything. I bring up a tent and do free hot dogs for people just as a thank you for coming up
Yeah.
and voting. And
I'll definitely be up there this year because I'm running.
Because you're running, so you'll be up there with your sign. Well, see, I'll feed you lunch for free. And that's just and 802 Scoop does it. I just do it as like I said, as a thank you for coming out and voting. And doing that has been pretty awesome because people stand around talking. And so sometimes they wait and get their hot dog when they come back out.
Yeah.
But they stop, they congregate there, they talk, they ask questions, they hang out with the people that are standing, that are candidates, that are standing in the row with their signs. It gives them, they actually don't just walk by them, they actually stop and chat.
That's a good idea. That's great.
I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I get tired sometimes. I set up there usually by 8 o'clock in the morning, and I don't leave until the ballots are counted. So I'm there all day long.
Well, it's a good 12 hours.
Yes, so it's a long day, and but it's a lot of fun. It really is, and the feedback that we've gotten is pretty cool. Yeah, the last election last year. I think it was when Michael and Michael were running for their state rep positions as well. I was up there doing the hot dogs, and someone complained that I was doing that because I was trying to buy votes. Well, first of all, people were coming afterwards to get their hot dog, but I don't think you could buy a vote with a hot dog. At least I hope not. No. I guess you never know, but they thought it was illegal, and they called somebody at the Attorney General's office, and then they came out and told me I had to move, and I know better, so I'm like, screw you, I'm not moving. And I called the Attorney General's office right back myself and said, I'm not moving, and this is what's happening. And so the moral of that story is I didn't have to move, and I can be there.
Yeah.
And so no matter how crazy it drives some people, I can be there. So I'll be there again with my tent and set up in one of the parking spaces right behind the row of all of you, and giving out free hot dogs and chips and water and cookies and usually just snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
So looking forward to it. Election day is May 13th?
May
Right.
13th. Yeah.
13th? Yep. So May 13th, Barb, we'll see you at the polls. Barb does absentee ballot, but she always comes and turns it in herself. She likes to come on election day and drop it in the bucket. So, which a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw some Granite City Blast stuff posted today, and I see the final winner is in Jordan. Bergeron is the winner by 1 point, thanks to all of those who played. And I think that was the
that was the NCAA brackets.
Yeah, the brackets that they did. So Jordan had 113 points, and that was the final winner. So, yeah.
I think Hillary was second.
Hillary was?
I think so.
Oh, yep, here she is. You had to scroll down just a tiny bit more. Second was Hillary Scott with 112 points. Yeah. So congratulations to Hillary and Jordan. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Did you do it?
No.
Did you do those
I did.
bracket
I usually
things?
do, and I didn't do one this year.
I've only done one once, and I didn't fill it out. Somebody did it for me because I have no idea. None
You
whatsoever.
didn't pick teams by your favorite animal, stuff like that?
No, and I just I really don't have a clue. I I've gone to a few basketball games. I like to go. I like the excitement, the atmosphere, whatever. It's a lot of fun. But I know nothing about it at all, which is surprising in a family full of people who love to play.
But you got to remember now, it's college basketball, and there's just so many teams and so many games through the season. And basically, you're just looking at a win-loss record and saying, well, if they won, 28 games and they're number one in the bracket, then I got to pick them,
I bet in the Kentucky Derby. I always bet. Does that count for anything?
Yeah, we'll give you points.
Like
for that.
I watched that even.
We'll give you points
on
for that
TV. I've never won any money, but I do. I
Yeah.
do always pick a horse.
I play in a football pool all season during football. It's like one of those weekly ones where you just pick the teams, and whoever has the most right. And then if there's a tie, they use a score from the Monday night game to break it. So
Hillary
I play
says
one
she
of
did
those.
it to support the kids, which is,
That's
I
great.
mean, the best part of it. And speaking of that, supporting the kids, Black Bear Hockey has a Calcutta coming up this weekend, and they've called last call for the Calcutta tickets. It's going to be over here at the Elks this Friday or Saturday night. I got to look really quick, but that's a really cool thing too.
Yeah.
If those kids, and there's a whole lot of them, they really put in a lot of effort, and all the people involved, and they're kids from all over, boys and girls. It's pretty awesome to watch.
It's a really good organization now. When they kind of merged the teams in the area, from Barry, Montpelier, whatever, and came up with this Black Bears. That was a good move.
Yeah, it's fun to watch them. But the Calcutta is this Friday, April 11th at the Elks. It's going to be the chicken and pasta with the salad and roll, the typical Barry dinner
Barry,
and Elks dinner, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you expect when you go there. They're gonna have the 50-50 and a couple of other raffles, as well as the dinner and the Calcutta ball. So
It's a good way to raise money.
yeah, for sure. And this one is more fun than some of them are. Like, some Calcuttas, they get dragged on. It just takes forever, and they're a little bit like low key. This one's fun. The one that I just went to for Donahue Motorsports, we had a lot of fun at that too. We had that one was over at the Den in Williamstown, and that was a lot of fun. And but this one is the same. It's a lot of fun, and it's such a good cause. Yeah, get out there and support the kids any way you can.
Any way you can, anything to, help out kids programs, all in.
It's super important. So this morning, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot because, we talked about this a little bit a couple of weeks ago, but we got an email this morning to 802 Scoop or a message to 802 Scoop, and Jane wants to know if that you had mentioned tours at Hope Cemetery.
Yes.
Will those be something that is scheduled that people are literally signing up for? Do you know how that is going to look yet?
So before the whole Rock of Ages losing their, closing their visitor center and their tours, Hope Cemetery's always had tours from outside. Typically what they do is they call the city. It used to be my number when I was working. I don't know where they're going through now. Probably best bet is to call the city manager's office. And we get bus tours. We usually get, 7 or 8, maybe up to 10 bus tours a year. We have a contractual agreement with a tour guide. And she works basically off the tips that she gets from the tours, and she invoices the city. I think she gets $25 a tour, where the city charges, I think it's 105 or 125. So you can go that route. She does private tours for small groups. I don't know if I should give out her information now. I'd probably want to check with her.
Right, we want to check first.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to just throw it out there. But yeah, you can have a private tour. I don't know, about these bus tours. They're usually big organizations. We have a group that comes every year in October, and it's a total of 4 or sometimes 6 buses that come on different days, and it's an RV group. They're RV groups that.
Oh, yep.
So they'll drive from Ohio or Michigan. They'll stay at Lake Champlain down in Randolph. The bus picks them up there. They'd go to the Rock of Ages, which they can't now, and have that tour, and then come to Hope. So it's seeing the raw rock and then going and seeing the finished product. Those groups, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but that's why we've been talking with the Granite Museum. We're thinking, trying to work something out, because the Granite Museum has committed to picking up the 106 buses that were scheduled to come into Barrie this spring, summer, fall for the quarry tours.
Yeah, so that's quite the crew.
Yeah.
So that's what in there. So their next question that's also in here was, do they include other cemeteries, or is it just Hope Cemetery?
It's just Hope.
So they don't include Elmwood or anything, but maybe this time they'll be incorporating
we could
other places.
We could start probably expanding that. I've always thought they should at least go to Elmwood. I don't know if we could add St. Monica to it too, but Elmwood is the oldest cemetery. So you've got monuments up there. You'd be amazed to look at these monuments and think back, in the 1800s, they didn't have the type of equipment they have now to set monuments.
Right, exactly.
They didn't have cranes that came in and set monuments. They did it with block and tackle and horses,
Yeah. And can you imagine, when you talk about that, my mind goes instantly to that house that was set at Hope Cemetery. Can you imagine what that would have been like to set all of that without a crane?
And that would have...
Could it have even happened?
No, I don't know, because that's, back in the 1800s, everything was carved by hand.
We're going to be having a guest in here actually at the end of the month, on the 30th. I got to look for the time that he'll be here, but Pat Bagalio. Do you know the Bagalios at all?
I know Paul.
He designed a stone in memory of his grandfather. Great-grandfather.
Yeah.
And so it's going to go up at their place of business up in Barrie, which used to be the Steeplejacks,
Yes.
Southgate Steeplejacks.
Right at the intersection.
And now they have their stuff. Wells Lamson, I think is what that's called, right? The quarry right there.
Yeah.
And but really cool. So on all around the outside, there will be little pavers that are in a circle all around the outside, and hopefully several rows of circle pavers before you get to the center. And people can buy those pavers in memory of somebody that they, in their family that was a quarry worker, and I mean, can you imagine the number? I know I could probably say 10 or 12 people that I know that worked at the quarry or worked in the sheds. My son works at a shed, and absolutely loves it. And so hopefully that's something that he can sell all those pavers and people can really get on board. I do not remember the dollar amount. It sounded a little scary what they were trying to raise, but
There
it's
was
probably
2 levels.
not.
There was 2 price levels.
Yeah.
The closer, I think, the closer to the monument was more than those that were out away from it.
Right, out away from it a bit. So, but he's going to come in, tell us all about it, tell us why, and of course talk a little bit about what they do and the history of it with his family. And I'm really looking forward to that for sure. And I hope that maybe at some point they do some sort of like little visitor center or something where they are. I mean, they have the perfect location. That building is absolutely amazing. There's an old crane in there. It's a perfect location to do something really cool up there. So it'll be interesting to see where Pat goes with this.
There's actually a lookout area there at that old quarry too.
Yeah, there is. And the guy that Jay Southgate that owned the steeple, if you look behind there, you can see his house
Yes.
that he put out, that really weird looking house that hangs
yeah.
out over the quarry
Yeah.
with a glass floor, because, that's perfectly normal. I'd be petrified, but you know, just a super cool spot for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And hopefully that brings a lot of people, and they can add things like that. And especially when we were talking the other day of how much more is available to do up there with Millstone and the trails
Yeah.
and the walking and the different quarries and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but she was just curious how that was going to go now that it was closed. She was hoping that they didn't close the bus tours altogether and just not come here anymore.
No, there'll be buses coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are more, the quarries down in Rutland area, those are marble,
That's
aren't
marble.
they?
Yeah, Proctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Proctor's got a big marble business down there.
Hence the Marble Valley, probably. Is that what they call it down there?
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, I know there are quarries all over the place, but I think that Rutland is where the next biggest, on a scale kind of
Right.
what we do around here. Certainly not as big, but
Where is it? Bethel. When you get off the Bethel exit, if you're going down to Rutland, on the right before you get to the exit, Rock of Ages has a quarry there, and the granite there is. So the granite here is berry gray. The granite that comes out of that quarry is Bethel white. So it's whiter, not as white as marble, but it's lighter than berry gray and close to being white. So that's.
I did not know that.
Yep.
I never knew that they had another quarry. I thought they were all right here.
Nope.
And do they have others? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know if they have others.
I wonder if Pat will know.
There's a quarry in Woodbury, and
Yes, we used to go swimming there. We used to go to the quarries in
Really?
Woodbury swimming. Yeah.
so that quarry supplies. So that's called Woodbury granite, and that supplies Swenson granite down in the north end.
And is that a
with
different color?
That,
or
and
different...
it's mostly architectural granite. So like sidewalk curbing, things like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think Polycor owns that one too.
Super cool. I think it's neat, and I hope that I hope it can bring some really good things over the summer here, because people are when the word came out about that, people were really concerned that that was going to close and what it was going to be like.
So I did attend a cemetery committee meeting a couple of weeks ago. I was invited to the meeting because they were talking about the cozy money.
Oh, yes.
And, one of his main wish was with that money, some of that money was to put a new fountain in. And so we're planning on that. I'm working with Mark Girardi and the people on the cemetery committee. So they're going to be working on plans, designs, whatever, to locate a new fountain in the cemetery. And then we kind of got talking, and Nicholas was there, and we talked about, in fact, Mayor Lozon was there too, because he handles Cozy's money. When we found out about the closing of the visitors center, we thought maybe, is there some way on some of our land up there at Hope, could we put a visitors center and draw more bus tours into that area too? So.
How long has it been? It's been a long time since there's been a fountain up there.
Yeah, the fountain's been there years
But
and years.
working.
But working?
It's been a long time.
It's probably maybe it was in the mid 80s, maybe it was still working, but
yeah.
I know when we got the Semper Bond money, which was around 2011, 2012, we were looking at what to do with that, if we could do something with it, and it was just determined that it was, we paved all the roads with Semper Bond money, and when we looked at that fountain, it's just, you've got to have some kind of a recirculation system, because the way it was set up, it was just water going in and water going out, And then when they decided to bill the cemetery for water, like all the city buildings get billed because the water sewer is a different entity than the city itself financially.
Yep.
And it was just too expensive to, rebuild it, do whatever you're going to do, and then, you had to do something with the water. So, but yeah, that's God. We used to go in that when we were kids. We'd fish. We'd fish Gunner Brook from down here where Beverage Baron is. We'd get in the brook and walk up all the way up to where the little store is, the Gunner Brook store up on Route 14. We'd walk about that far, and then we'd turn around and come back. And if it was a hot day, we'd climb up the bank and go and put our feet in the fountain up at the cemetery.
Naughty.
No.
Judy says there used to be a copper fountain there, but someone stole it.
That was what they had for the head. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Hillary Scott says, could you put a little shed, kind of like what's out here in Depot Square? Could you put some sort of building like that there that was more like a little information center?
That's what started this whole discussion. We've been talking about that for a few years, that, we needed something where you could leave brochures. A few years back, we talked to a company that would put in a web-based system where people could punch in somebody's name and find their loved one's grave.
Right, their stone.
Yeah, there's been a lot of things.
Because it gets confusing.
It does.
I know that, I think this last summer, maybe the summer before, it doesn't matter, but I was riding around trying to find my aunt's stone, and she is in Morrisville, and it had been a long time since I had been to the cemetery, and I had a horrible time finding it. Literally, I was walking aisle by aisle by aisle until I came across it, because I had forgotten exactly where it was. And it was, and then I thought, well, if there was a map, if I could only look and see exactly where it was, how nice that would be. Yeah. Or even when you're trying to pick your own. I know that right now, I've decided that I want to be up with my brother, and he's up in Berrytown, just above Quarry Hill.
Wilson?
Yeah, he's in the Wilson. So I've decided that I'll go up there with him.
Yeah.
And because my mom's not going to be alone in Hope, because my dad will be there,
Right.
but my brother, I feel like he's up there all by himself. So I'm going to go up there. And, but I wish there was a map of where things were. I know I would like to be right behind him, because I can't be on either side of him. And I've had a hard time getting a hold of anybody up there, but if there was a map so that you could look and understand where they are and what the lots were.
So we have like paper mats for Hope and somewhat for Elmwood and St. Monica's, but St. Monica's is kind of like out of use, because when the church couldn't keep up with the upkeep for the cemetery, they turned it over to the city, and some of the records aren't very accurate. So the city decided at that point, we're not selling any lots in there, because we don't know if they truly are empty lots.
Right, if they're truly empty.
So we left that. Elmwoods, you got a pretty good idea of what's there, and at Hope we have maps that show the sections. But it wouldn't tell you, like, if you're, I know right where your parents are. They're in Morningside.
Yeah.
And they're right off the road. But we have master maps that have, lots with numbers on them. So what they're trying to do now with, we talked about this with the cozy money, is a system that we could get all that entered in, and it would show the number, and, and have that assigned to a person. So you could look up Meunier, and there would be, and it would say whatever it is, 220 Morningside or whatever.
Yep.
And it would show you where it was on the map.
Which is super cool. And when you start talking about tours, and we know that people do all of these Ancestry.com, different things like that now, you never know who might be coming and looking and want to pay tribute. Or in saying that, I know that the florist, they deliver to the cemetery.
Yes.
If you live out of state and you call Emsley's and order flowers for your mother's stone or a birthday, whatever, you're ordering flowers for a stone, they will get them there.
Yeah.
And so even for them to have a map
Right.
and know, okay, this is where I'm going, because it's difficult. I've tried to explain to people where my mom is, and it's hard to get them right to where
Right.
she is
Yeah.
by just, explaining.
That's why we usually use like the flagpole for
Yeah.
for a spot, the fountain for a spot, or if they're down near the mausoleums, we tell them which mausoleum, and then cut in across from the mausoleum.
Yeah, I'm kind of lucky because when we are explaining, if most people know, but if you go to the top and then head left, and you go left again when you get to the care stone, and
Yeah.
that one sticks right out there. So
Yeah.
I mean, the car is right there on the corner. You go left right there, and it's almost on the bottom at the left. So most people can find it, but it's hard to explain to some people that don't know the cemetery at all or don't know the Lacares, or
Right.
it's difficult to get people to understand.
And see, those are the things that the bus tours. The bus tours are good, but you're only going to see that they take you to the the more prominent monuments, the bigger ones, or
The
the most,
soccer ball,
right,
or the car, or
right.
the one with the two people in bed with each other,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, but if you're going out on your own, and not going to just look for someone, but just when you're walking around, just don't just walk the
There's
roads.
a lot
cut
of
in,
beautiful
cut in,
stones.
cut in,
Yeah.
and some of these spaces that are surrounded by the hedges, and you walk around, you'd be amazed at some of the work you'll see in there.
Yeah, there's some super detailed work for sure. And Hope is you have to use the berry gray in Hope, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Judy was asking about another kind, and what about, where did she put it? Columbarium at Hope?
That's part of this whole new.
What is that?
A columbarium?
Yeah.
It's basically, it could be this big, or it could be go down to the Veterans Cemetery and look at the columbariums they have. They have
the drawers?
8 of them. They have 8 like granite, and they run down rows, and there's like boxes in each one, and you buy a box, or you buy 2 boxes, and they usually typically like the plans we had for the ones that we want to do it at Hope, because we like to have granite. We have a granite facing on it, and then you can take that off, and then your boxes in there that your ashes will sit in, and you close it.
Yeah, that's where my
Berrytown,
grandmother is in Florida.
Yeah.
That's what they have in Florida. in
Wilson
Hampton.
has some up there. They're nice, the ones they have, but we know we've got to do it, and it's probably got to be done sooner than later. So
Yeah, I didn't know they had bigger ones. I know that my aunt and uncle did a stone like that. It's
Yeah.
a stone, and so it's my uncle Everett, my aunt Debbie, and then my grandmother and my great grandmother are there, and so they have the 4 drawers
Yeah.
in the stone.
Yep.
So,
There's-
they are neat.
There's benches up there that the top comes off, and the ashes go down inside. They get your legs, and the ashes go in, and the seat goes back on top. There's so many things
Interesting.
that the granite people can do now that.
I did not know that. I guess I always thought that the bench, that the people were in the ground underneath. I didn't know that.
Well, some are buried in the
some
ground.
are probably, but
some are buried in the ground, and some
are in the lakes.
You have a combination that maybe the parents are under the bench, and they buy them for their children, and they're in the ground. There's so many things they can do now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's like you said, it's an art that has evolved.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
But it's an art that hasn't gone away and won't ever go away.
Won't
I
ever
don't
go
see
away.
that that will ever go away, and it's something very important to you here.
Yeah.
For sure. We should invite Giuliano on sometime to sit and talk about some of that stuff, or him and his family too, huge in this area. And maybe go down to the Granite Museum someday and see what they've got going on down there. And that's another place that I've been there for a purpose of an event or something, but I've never really been to the Granite Museum for any other reason than to go down for an event. Like I said, I've been outside too. I've peeked in because they've had the big doors open or whatever, but I haven't really gone in there. And I think, why not? And they did some classes there last year, I believe.
Giuliano was actually teaching. I think he had 4 or 6 students that he was teaching down there.
Yeah, they have the program through the tech center.
Yeah.
So super cool. Well, good. I hope she's tuning in, and if she's not, we'll make sure she gets the link so that she can check back in and see what your answers to the question was, because she was very curious. And then we should probably let everybody know that right before the show that we were talking about the egg hunt, where that's going to be this year.
Big egg hunt.
The big egg hunt.
It's at the BOR.
Yeah, not at the school.
Indoors in the BOR.
Yeah, it's going to be different for sure. April 19th from 9 to 11 inside with the turf, and the turf is out.
That's going to be interesting.
It sounds like they're going to maybe have a bunny. I don't know. It says that there will be special guests available for pictures. So I'm assuming if you're going to have a special guest for a picture, that it's got to be the Easter bunny, right?
It's got to be.
I can't imagine it being anybody else, but there will be games, crafts, recreational events, and the special guest, and of course the egg hunt. So.
Don't have to worry about rain.
No,
it's indoors.
It is indoors. Can you imagine how loud it's going to be in
there? Oh,
there?
my God. If they get as many kids as they did up at the pool, it's going to be like elbow to elbow going through there.
And so I wonder how they'll have it set up, if they'll do groups of like this many kids go, or this age group goes at this time and then that age group goes at that time.
Yeah, because up at the pool they had areas. Like I think the youngest kids were on the tennis courts, and then they had 2 different age groups on the playground, and then an older group way down the end of the pool. And it might be a little crowded, but
it's the first year trying it this way, and a big thanks to the Town of Barre Recreation Department for making sure that continued on, because many people wondered if it wouldn't this year. So. Thank you to them for making sure. And, there are a couple of others. The churches do them. Faith Community does them. There are some churches and different organizations that will egg your yard. That's what they call it, egg your yard. And you pay them to get Easter all done for you, basically. So, there are other hunts and different things going on outside, but this is the annual one that's been going on around here for
30. 30 plus.
At least, because my oldest son is 34. He'll be 35 in November. So yeah, he's 34, and I've been taking him since he was just a little boy. Obviously not anymore, but I way back then, in the very early 90s. So at least that long. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to bring our boys up there too when they were little.
It's a fun, cool event.
It lasts like all of 10 minutes.
And then a section of Brook Street will be closed to all traffic from North Main Street to Seminary Street for bypass pumping related to sewer relining project. The closure will take effect this afternoon and last through tomorrow. Please follow all detours and respect the crews and the members, the flaggers and stuff. And I saw a post yesterday where a lot of people were upset that these notifications didn't come out.
I saw it.
And it definitely was a late post. It didn't come out until much later than it should have. But
I think it was actually later than the buses left the school.
Yeah, it was quite a bit later.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of really angry people, for sure. And so this doesn't really pertain to that. They were good about getting it out and getting it out there pretty early today. This notice went out like 3 hours ago. But if you haven't signed up for Regroup yet, you really should.
Yes.
Because if you don't get, a lot of times stuff comes through there far better and quicker than it does
VT Alert.
Yeah, through VT Alert, or even, their Facebook posts and their texting, they text sometimes. And this actually, the Regroup really does make a pretty big difference.
Yeah, and it's Berry City. That's
right. It's not all of the other
Right.
stuff, when that you get that ding that
Yeah.
is what it's for. But it is helpful. Unfortunately, it would not have happened yesterday. I don't know what happened. Just it didn't get out there in time until it was a little bit too late. And there was a lot of really pissed
Well, yeah,
people.
well,
There
I
were
mean,
a
they
lot of
had
really mad people, little kids walking on Main Street, on Merchant Street and stuff. Little kids, I guess. And a little bit frightening.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can tighten that up.
Yeah, I saw the stuff on Facebook, and then I did see the posting from the city.
Yeah, and there was so that gap might have to be worked on a little bit. But we have to mention a couple of sponsors here. Today we're going to mention Routhier Quick Lube and Auto Spa right here on South Main. It's tire changeover and Vermont State inspection time.
Oh, boy.
So get it done.
Oh, boy.
Get it done. Get the tires changed over. At least book your appointment because they're booking up super fast. So you can call 802-622-0080 to schedule a tire changeover at Ruthier's. Have you changed yours over yet?
I got to get my appointment in. I usually have mine like the first week. Try to get the first week or the second week of May. That's when my inspections due anyway.
Yep.
And then in the fall, I try to get them in like early or mid-October.
Yeah, I always wait until the last minute because look, you never know. We could still get snow and then you're, and you might need them.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not, maybe we don't have to worry about that much yet, but I always wait until the very end for some reason.
I know one year I went out to camp. It was beautiful. And it was the end of April. Went out to camp. It was beautiful out. Woke up in the morning and there was 3 inches of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't take much out there and then in that neck of the woods either for it to be.
Had the oldest grandson with us that day. It was his birthday on May 1st.
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't have boots or anything. He had his sneakers and stuff, so we did the old plastic bags over. Plastic bags over the sneakers and sent them out.
There you go. Put the old bread bags on and and go to town. I mean, hey, it worked for us, okay?
Oh yeah.
And why not, right? So, those are the pretty much the only things I wanted to mention. I went tomorrow's Ladies' Day at Vermont Quick Lube and Car Wash in South Barry, so all the ladies can go in for just the general service, like oil change, things like that. Drive in, drive out. And as a thank you for being wonderful, they will send you through the car wash for free and give you a flower. Pretty sweet of them, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I mean, a great group of guys over there. So, and that's just for general service, like the oil changes.
So all us men are going to go up and pick it. Because,
you
when's
can
Men's
pick
Day?
it. You can pick it, or you can put on a skirt, whichever one you choose.
I think I'll just stay home. Thanks.
You never know.
I was looking at the city civic center calendar, and if people like to go walking and don't like walking outside, they have walking in the BOR every morning from 8:30 to 10. You can just, nice cushioned turf you can walk on. And for all you pickleball people, it looks like there's pickleball in the auditorium every day from 9 to 3, at least the rest of this week it looks like it is. So a few things there if you're looking for something to do.
Yeah, and I'm assuming the kids are going to be on April break. Is it next week that starts? I think it is, but I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's next week that starts, but I'm sure that they'll do some open gyms. They always try to do some stuff up there at the Odd so that the kids have a place to go and kind of let off some steam. We know that a lot of stuff will be going on over at the library, different things like that, but
I'm thinking it's right after Easter.
is it after?
Yeah, it looks like it because they've got open turf starting Monday, the 21st. Then it's broken up into segments. From 11 to 12, it's open turf soccer. Then 12 to 1, open turf lacrosse. Then 1 to 2, open turf football. But just, we'll remind people because that's a few weeks off.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure we will. And we, like I said, check the little calendars. Can you find that right on the city site?
Yeah, berrycity.org, and you can go on, there's something there that'll say Civic Center schedule.
Yeah, Judy says yes, vacation week is after Easter. So, and Easter is 4/20 this year.
4/20?
4/20 this year, yes. There's going to be a lot of happy rabbits.
Yes, ma'am.
There's going to be a lot of happy rabbits.
So we better check the Easter bunny.
Yes, we better check the Easter bunny. But 4/20 for Easter this year. And as I said, Tasty Bites is going to be open for Easter. So she's going to do breakfast there. And I'm going to try to peg her down for some more information about that tomorrow. We need to be calling because I think she's going to be busy. When I think about how many people used to go to, like we were talking about, to the steakhouse or any of these places that don't exist anymore, a lot of people will say, who's doing breakfast for Easter? And I think that there's not a lot. And so I think she's going to be super busy.
We got to get some fried dough.
Well, we're not waiting until Easter to do that. We'll probably do that like tomorrow or Thursday. That's too far away, Jeff. Yeah, we got to do that at least once a week. We'll do it on Friday because we don't have to do a show. We'll go on Friday in place of doing a table talk. We'll do fried dough. I mean, that sounds good to me.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah, me too. It's a date. That's what we're doing on Friday. We're gonna go get that. But thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to tune in to City Council meeting tonight. It's super important to be as involved as you can. There's a lot going on, a lot of some changes, some things you're going to see on the ballot that you could understand a little more, maybe if you were at the City Council meeting. And I'm sure at the council meetings, you may even start seeing a few new faces of the people that are running for the seats. Maybe they're going to, be there to tune in and pay attention and get a little bit acclimated.
I think tonight there's a couple big things on there. We're discussing a charter change, and I think we're going to hopefully approve the budget to go on the ballot tonight.
Yeah, and that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it
and
is.
The charter change is to change the clerk position from
elected
to appointed.
Yep.
Lots of opinions there.
Oh, yeah.
And we're actually going to have Carol Dawes in here again soon to talk about that because we know it's going to end up on the ballot. You don't usually keep things off the ballot. So, but thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Have a great night. Stay safe. Stay warm.